sky turned black, the stars fell down. United we stand, but we're losing ground. One world beneath the iron fist. Voices silenced, they cease to resist. Echoes of hope in the darkening night. Fading whispers of a long-lost light. Rise up, hear the call to arms. In this storm of chaos, we'll find our charms. Together we'll fight through the ashes and dust. A phoenix reborn in our hearts' purest trust. The sirens wail through the desolate towns. Once proud nations painted in the scars of the crown. A single army marching on our dreams. Unity forged in despair, or so it seems. Nothing left but shadows drifting away as the last embers of freedom decay. Rise up, hear the call to arms. In this storm of chaos, we'll find our charms. Together we'll fight through the ashes and dust. A phoenix reborn in our hearts' purest trust. One global army, together we stand. In the fall of the world, we'll make our last stand.
Well, good evening, everybody. I hope you can hear me well enough. I'm going to try and do this on a Thursday night to see how it goes technically with me and the equipment and see if it does any better. But before we get started, I want to say hello to Overbill. Monisha, good to see you. Urso, good to have you in there, brother. Good to have you. Marcy, good to see you. Okay. Let's see who else we got. We got Ray. Good to see you, Ray. It's always good to see Ray. David, good to see you, brother. I might be bringing you on, so be ready. Let's see here, because I want somebody's opinion. So, and I'm going to be doing this by myself, so I can't really ask myself my own opinion. That'd be kind of one-sided, don't you think? Anyways. Let me see here. Who else we got? We got Ida in the house. Good to see you, Ida. Squatch Topic, my brother. Good to see you. Hope you guys are doing great up there in PA. If anybody wants to follow another good channel, Squatch Topic PA on YouTube, definitely give them a look-see and subscribe. He's working on some really good information there. I always tell you to question everything. So please, we have to do this, and the hardest part when dealing with the cryptids, and David, I'm sure you'll agree, is trying to sort out the flesh and blood from the supernatural. Okay. And I've talked about it 100 times, but we're not going to get into that tonight. But just, keep an open mind when you do your own studying and your own research, and watch other podcasts and stuff, because it does pay to actually have more information than what you entered it with, to tell you the truth. All right. So let's see. All right. Who else we got? Poncho, good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while. Soundwave 1001, good to see you. All right. Let's see here. Who else we got? If I miss anybody, I apologize, but we are testing out some equipment and making sure everything is going okay. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me okay. Yeah, see, that's the problem. Okay. So let me know how the volume is. Let me know how you're hearing me. Okay. Loud and clear. Thank you, Urso. Thank you. All right. Anyways, we're going to get into a couple different topics tonight. Okay. I wanted to first off announce that I might be moving into the Red Rabbit Hole to Thursday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern, because of the time frame from when we get done doing it in the early hours of the AM to starting up another podcast immediately Saturday morning. So I might need to have a day in between to get between the two podcasts. So that's another reason we're testing it out here. Okay. So, that being physically, I still feel like I've been beaten up by a freaking 800-pound gorilla, and smacked around by a 250-pound chimpanzee. But besides that, I'm doing okay. What I want to let you all know is the night that I was going to do the Nighthawk by the Fire, I literally blacked out, and something stopped me from falling into the fire, literally, and it wasn't there. And I didn't see it. And that's unusual for me not to see it. But of course, physically, I wasn't feeling that great. So that could have had something to do with it. But the fact remains is, don't ever question that the supernatural is not real, because something stopped me from falling into a fire, okay, that Friday night. And hey, Scott, good to see you. And Joanne, good to see you. Never ever doubt that the supernatural isn't real. And that's why I always tell you all that we need to separate the two. We need to separate the supernatural from the flesh and blood stuff that we deal with. A lot of that in the cryptid world. So, that being said, I'm feeling better. I'm on a new round of medications and stuff for the cancer. And thank you to Nellie Turner for getting me some medications to me. I'm still waiting for ivermectin to come in, but I'm currently on the fenbendazole, and I'm taking the tablets of the capsules of aloe vera and a couple other things, kava by Dropfuls. I'm taking that for immune deficiency. So I'm doing as much as I can. Jason, good to see you. But it is what it is when you're battling what I'm battling. And I gotta say that I physically feel okay. I'm run down, and I really didn't have it in me last night to do the podcast, so that's why I moved it to today. And but we're here. We're going to get it done with, and we're going to continue on and try to do our best. That's what we can only do. We're only human, right? So that being said, we're going to talk about the relationship of volcanoes and the mining industry to UFOs and magnetic fields. I thought that was a topic that was, and I'm sure Ursa will agree, and Stuart, you probably agree to that too. Good to see you, Stuart. And Jason, you'll probably agree. That's probably a topic we don't have too many people talking about. Um, but from my research that I've done over the past week on this subject, I've had my own experiences and sightings and stuff, and I had one previous encounter in Pennsylvania in 1987 with a black triangled UFO with the red lights on the bottom. And literally, I woke up driving my then truck at the time, in the driveway, and I got basically 3 miles from where I encountered it at to my driveway where we lived, and I don't remember how I got there. Okay, so bear that in mind when we go over this, because I do have a little bit of a personal encounter with the whole UFO phenomena, and I don't want to call it a UAP. A UAP to me is a phenomenal mega storm. That's what a UAP is to me, or ball lightning. That kind of stuff. So I still call them UFOs. Okay, unidentified flying objects. So that's what they are. Anyways, the relationship of volcanoes and mines to UFOs and the magnetic fields. Okay. In our world, we experience mysterious phenomena, considering that there are 13 vortexes in the known world, with the most famous of those being the Bermuda Triangle. Notably, where over 1,300 ships and planes have disappeared that they know of. Okay. God knows what else has disappeared. The possibility of humans unknowingly causing vortexes to occur is greatly increased in so many opinions. Through my research of volcanoes and the mining industry of metals like iron, copper, nickel, lead, silver, gold, and others, that we have unwittingly caused vortices due to the basically mining of highly magnetic metals like iron. Iron is the most magnetic metal that we know of. Okay. And it's been my opinion that a lot of the stuff that we see happening with volcanoes and UFOs and around certain mountainous areas that have mining industries in them, okay, that they're mining something. Bounty, good to see you. Know that, when they're mining, either you're taking away the metals like, what would I say, like lead and stuff like that out of the mine. If you're mining like a lead mine and you remove all the lead from the mine, you're exposing the magnetic element of that mine. Now, if UFOs, and it's just my opinion from my little bit of research, and I want everybody's opinion on it, okay? Yes, or so hematite, you're right. It's my opinion that when you remove non-magnetic material from a mountain, say in a mine, and you leave the iron and the other magnetic materials available, that craft that use anti-gravity devices and magnetic, levitation are going to utilize those resources, because they're going to be able to have the equipment or the technology to sense that it's there. The same reason we see UFOs going in and out of volcanoes. Now, and this has just happened just recently. It's been noted that they've been doing it a lot. Okay. And if you've noticed, the volcanic activity has increased over the last couple of years. Okay. Now, whether the UFOs going in and out of them have something to do with it or not, we don't know. Okay. That's kind of a shot in the dark, kind of a guess. Okay. But when it comes to iron, You're talking about ferromagnetism is the strongest type of magnetism known currently, okay, to the common man. Iron's atomic structure allows its electrons to align and create a significant magnetic field, okay? So when you're dealing with iron is the most common magnetic metal, making it the foundation of ferromagnetic materials, okay? And the magnetic anomalies and magnetic fields used for UFOs is probably the way that they're doing it, okay? Now, again, this is just brief research that I've done. And when you deal with volcanic activity, okay, are volcanoes magnetic? No, they're not magnetic. But, and that's a big but. And I like big butts, and I cannot lie. Other brothers can't deny. Okay, anyways, volcanoes may not be magnetic, but the material within them, the metals and the soil around them and in them are magnetized, okay? So they have the properties to conduct a magnetic field around a volcano, especially if you have the technology to draw upon it, okay? And that's where I think the correlation is when we see the UFOs going in and out of all the volcanoes, and we see UFOs flying over, say, mountain ranges that have copper mines in them or nickel mines in them, you know, that we're moving the materials out of the mines and leaving that core based magnetic material behind, creating an opportunity for UFOs that use magnetism to levitate, to utilize that energy as a technology for their technology, for their craft. Okay. Now, there are some cases where it has been almost proven, without a doubt, almost proven, I should say, okay, that basically some UFOs are organic, okay, or biological, okay, is what I should say, okay. A lot of them aren't biological. A lot of them are just regular craft, okay, as you can see in this picture here, okay. But when you're dealing with extraterrestrial technology or reversed engineered technology, okay, you're dealing with a science that we really don't know that much about, but I guarantee the people that have their elbows deep into it have the knowledge, okay. And it's been told to me by several people that have researched this phenomenon a lot longer than I have in the UFO area, that these UFOs are operated, if they're operated and they're not biological in nature, where they're like, say, like a synthetic human, okay, where it's half robotic and half biological. If they're not that way, then it's actually the entity that is inside it, whether it's human or alien, is using their mind to operate the technology. Okay, so you have to have that ability to link up with the craft. Okay, and that is where a lot of this is getting done with certain, how do I want to say it, certain undiscovered reasons and places around the earth where these beings, whether it's a human or whether it's an alien technology for their crafts, are getting their information. They're literally scanning the planet, in my eyes, in my point of view, to find out where the strongest magnetic fields are. And I think they figured out that the majority of them are around mining claims and around volcanoes. Okay. There is also something to be said about the energy of tectonic plates. Okay. We know for a fact that when two plates collide during an earthquake, you're going to see this energy come up out of the ground, almost like a lightning bolt, okay, lighting up the sky. Okay, but it's not the actual, rod looking lightning bolt. It just lights up the sky because it's that force, that energy that the plates are hitting each other with and pushing on each other, and it's releasing all that force into the atmosphere. Okay, that's another theory too when it comes to these craft. I think that if you see some of these craft, that especially if we know that they are alien, extraterrestrial in design, I think when you see a craft somewhere, you can probably expect some kind of natural disaster to happen. Okay. And that's just a speculated guess at best on my part, okay? Because it's kind of like the Mothman theory, okay? Whenever you see the Mothman, something tragic happens, okay? Or if you have an interaction with the Mothman, something tragic happens, okay? And that's been proven over and over again with the nuclear facility in Japan that was hit by the tsunami years ago. And they said that they saw the Mothman. They even photographed it flying around after the day after and before it happening in that same area. So, I mean, it's almost like the same thing with the UFOs, I think, as long as they are extraterrestrial. Okay. If they're man-made, I say that they're probably just goofing off trying to make it look like they're aliens, to tell you the truth. Project Bluebeam's a good example of that. So, anyways, when it comes to volcanoes, and volcanoes, our most common metal is, guess what? Iron. Okay. Iron, hematite, yes, is the most common and the most abundant metal in the rocks and the soil around volcanoes and inside volcanoes. Also found in the volcanoes is gold, believe it or not, copper, zinc, nickel, and combinations of magnetic elements and magnetic. Okay, so at the same thing, when we have volcanic activity acting up and that the molten lava expels and pushes out the negative, the non-magnetic material, and the iron is based there, stays there, there's more of a chance if the volcano is active to see UFO activity, in my opinion. Okay, I don't know how Ursa or anybody else feels about that, but that's just my opinion, and I'm going to stick with it. But we've seen it time and time again, and it's, to me, it's a phenomena that, hey, on real estate, good to see you. Let me see. Actually, I do believe most of the molten material actually is magnetite, hematite, because it's all iron based. Once the molten lava hits the non-magnetic materials, from what my research showed, it pretty much eliminates that possibility. It expels it from within. It's like deep. It's like a purification process, leaving the magnetic material behind and expelling the non-magnetic material, which makes that source, that volcano, even more of a possibility for something that uses magnetic energy to travel, to utilize. Now, are they creating vortexes and all that? I believe that they possibly could. if it is technologically advanced, more advanced than what we are by hundreds, if not thousands of years, I very well could see it happening, opening up vortexes and stuff. I really can. There's that place in Montana, you know, where they have all the buildings and stuff where you can stand at an angle and you don't fall down. There's currently, if you include the Alaska Triangle, there are currently 13 known vortexes within the Earth, okay, around the globe, okay? 13, if you include the Alaskan Triangle. I'm not sure if we can yet, but to me, just as many people and planes and stuff disappeared in Alaska as anywhere in the world. Okay, I think it's 24,000, 26,000 in the last 20 years have disappeared, or 30 years in Alaska, and hundreds, if not thousands, of airplanes. 1950, a perfectly good example. 1950, there was a military plane with 44 military personnel on board, and they were flying from Alaska, and they got to just where the beginning of the Yukon Territory in Alaska meets, and they just disappeared. 44 people in a 4-engine prop military plane just disappeared in 1950 without a trace. Okay. They were headed to, I believe they said they were headed to a base in North Dakota. I believe that's where they were headed. But they never made it. They never made it out of Alaska. Now, did they actually fly into a vortex? Very well could be. What about Hale Boggs, the senator? There's been no evidence found that he crashed, really, So did his plane actually fly into a vortex too? So there's a lot of strange things that are happening. Okay. And in my opinion, okay, let me get this picture down so I can talk to you all. Okay. In my opinion, okay, in my opinion only, if a craft is extraterrestrial, okay, and even reverse engineered by our own technology, scientists and engineers and all that in the military and the Black Ops programs, they have to have a basis on how to keep the energy field going to make these craft fly, because they don't have wings, they don't have tails, they don't have props, they don't have any way to lift it other than gravity or magnetism. Okay, so if you're feeding off of the magnetic fields around the globe, it would make sense to me that you would map out where each strong point is, so you can get from point A to point B in a split second, and maybe if there is a weaker field around, maybe that's when they open up a vortex and they go through it and they pop out someplace else where there's a stronger magnetic field. It makes sense to me, because first off, what I dealt with in 1987, how do I want to say this? Something kept that craft up off the ground. It didn't have wings. It didn't have props. It didn't have twin rotors. It didn't have. It wasn't like a drone. Okay. Something kept that craft off the ground, and that craft was as big. Well, actually, it was bigger than the baseball field it hovered over. Okay. Now, the craft that I encountered was completely jet black, triangle, no lights on the inside, inside to see. It was all just jet black, but underneath had 3 spots where these bright red lights were glowing. Okay, and they literally lit up the whole baseball field and the tree line around the baseball field about 6 feet up on the trees. Okay, so this thing was sitting literally, say this is say my hand here is the baseball field. Okay, this craft was literally right there. It was literally probably 10 feet off the baseball field and just hovering. Okay, so for something to have to hover, and I wish I would have known about magnetism and all that back then, and because I would have checked it out a lot more further than just basically swallowing my pride and keeping my mouth shut about it for all those years, like my buddies did, who were both military vets too. So yeah, it's something when you have that kind of an encounter. It's really something. Okay. But something had to keep that craft up off the ground. Either gravity did or magnetism did. That's the only 2 choices that I can see. If it was atomic energy, like a atomic reactor, which I'm sure they probably monkeyed with at some point in time. They probably do have something like that in some of these craft that are man-made. But I don't believe that back then they probably would have had the technology to utilize that. Plus, you would think that you would hear some kind of or feel some kind of vibration coming off of it, or hear some kind of vibration coming off of it, if it was an atomic reactor with inside the craft. Okay, you would like the incident of the Canadian guy when he was out, hiking, and I believe this was in the 80s, the early 80s. He was out hiking, and he came across this craft in this field, this little area, little valley. And he walked up upon it, and it started up, and it literally sent a radiation burn across his whole chest and abdomen area, and he was hospitalized for it. I think eventually he died from radiation poisoning. But he even had the marks where apparently the craft opened up like a grill, like on a car, basically, okay, like a grill, and expelled the energy like a thrust to move away from that area. Okay. Now, something like that was probably a man-made craft, and they were probably working with atomic technology to make that craft go, and that's why the guy had radiation burns. Just a speculated guess. That's just my guess. Okay. I'm going to get into the comments here, and I'm going to see what everybody thinks and go from there. In fact, what I'll do, hey, Camo Dad, good to see you. Yeah, nobody will get the truth. Yeah, Soundwave, you're right. TR3B is a triangle craft, yes. And that very well could have been what I experienced, but I had a very close friend do a remote viewing on it, who's been doing it for a good number of years. Well, let's just say that it legitimately happened. I don't even know how to explain it. How to explain missing time, whether it's 5 minutes or 5 hours or 5 days, okay? It doesn't matter. Missing time is missing time. And for me to be over 3 miles away from my driveway and not remember how I got from point A to my driveway, driving my vehicle at the time, is pretty damn creepy. Okay, it's a creepy feeling because something else was controlling either me or the vehicle to get me from point A to point B. Okay, so what kind of technology was it? Was it alien technology? Was it extraterrestrial? I don't know. I don't recall anything from inside the craft. All I know is I don't have any memory of it from when I came around the corner with my buddies in my truck and we saw it and we stopped dead in the corner of the road as the turn came around the road and the truck headlights were shining right at it. And all three of us just kind of looked at each other and we couldn't believe what we were seeing. And the next thing we know, they're dropped off at their houses, okay, and I'm pulling in the driveway. So I'm guessing, if you're going to have that kind of ability to do that, it's not going to be a human ability. It's not going to be a man-made ability. So, yeah, Lockheed Martin is a Skunk Works is a real genius operation. Let me tell you, and I'm sure that there's several much more informative people other than me that can tell you more about Skunk Works than anything. I didn't personally have to deal with them when I was in the military. Hey, Riley. But yeah, I remember the Heaven's Gate cult in the 1990s saying that they were going to join up with the comet, Hale-Bopp comet, that came through. I remember that. Makes you wonder if it was a comet, huh? So, I don't know. I was going to upload a picture of NASA from their latest mission, and I use air quotes because NASA was founded as an oceanography study government agency. Okay, it wasn't a space agency. Okay, it was originally developed and brought forth for ocean studies, deep ocean studies. Okay, so it didn't come to being a space agency until certain government officials put a bug in their ear and they made it a space agency because they wanted to hide certain things from the public. Okay. Yeah, bending space and time, electric magnetism propulsion is what I was referring to, Riley, when it comes to the volcanic activities of UFOs going in and out of them. And you hear a lot of activities like over Mount Rainier and all that, which is another volcano apparently. Um, Mount Hayes in Alaska. There's all different types, but those same mountain ranges also have mining activities in them. Okay. Hey, Boondock. Good to see you, Corey. And when you have mining activities, most of it is iron that they're mining or a non-magnetic material that they're removing from the ground and leaving the magnetized material there. So, they have to have some way of being able to sense the stronger magnetic fields, whether it's ley lines they're using or whatnot. We don't know. Okay. At least I don't know. I'm sure somebody knows, but they're not telling us. Okay. Plain and simple. All right. And I don't think they're ever going to tell us the truth. I think this crap that's going on in DC with this UFO disclosure, I think it's a bunch of BS. I really do. I think it's a bunch of BS. Okay. I think that they're dangling the carrot in front of the rabbit, is what they're doing. Oh, look at here. Look at here. Don't pay attention to this black operation we got going on over here. This black operation over here. Don't pay attention to that. Don't pay attention to NASA and their uniforms that they're wearing to go to outer space that are thinner than the t-shirt I'm wearing. I mean, come on, people. I don't know. I don't know. Hey, Bounty. I don't know. What do you think, Bounty? So, like I said, I should have uploaded that picture. Well, I'll pull it up on my phone and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about when it comes to their space outfits. Okay, I'll show you. Hold on here. Let me get into this. All right, where is it? There we go. Let me see if I can show you guys. Take a look at their space outfits. Now, those are some serious space outfits. They're not even like, they're just like little, it's like they're walking around wearing Izods, for God's sake, you know? It's like they're Buffy on, at the country club. I just, you know, I'm sorry. I think NASA is a bunch of crap. I really do. I really do. Let me see if I can show you this way. You remember back in the late 60s with the space agencies that were doing it? The suits were so big and bulky and had the big backpack on them and all that. Okay. These suits aren't that way. These suits, I mean, they're like skin tight and they're very, very thin. Okay. I'm sorry, but is that going to stop cosmic radiation? Is that going to stop a burst, you know, from the sun? I don't think so. I think they're lying to us. I really do. That's just my opinion. That and $5 will get you a cup of coffee from Starbucks. So I think it's been a while since I've been to Starbucks. But I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, literally, it is something to think about. You know, do we have a space program that is basically lying to us? I really, really do believe that. Yeah, Corey. Hey, Carl. Good to see you. God. Oh, I'm curious. Okay, who is the UFO and space expert in the field out there right now in the chat? Okay, who's the one honest opinion? Okay, I really do, and I'm gonna put the link in the chat. Okay, and I'm going to let you guys fight it out, and maybe I'll bring somebody on for about 15 minutes to kind of give me some of their insight before we close this out. But I just, you know, let me see if I'm going to read some of the stuff that I found. Let me see here. Give me 1 second, guys. One second. Okay. Yeah, see, iron is a very magnetic metal. In fact, it's the strongest of the common ferromagnetic metals. Iron's magnetic properties are due to its atomic structure, specifically its unpaired electrons and crystalline form, which allows its magnetic moments to align easily. Okay. Now, let's see. What's this say? Yeah, same thing. Okay. Crystalline structures. When iron is in its body-centered cubics, BCC, alpha structure, its atoms can align in a way that creates strong magnetic properties, like ferromagnetism. Iron is a ferromagnetic material, the strongest type of magnetism. The term ferromagnetism itself is named after iron, ferrium in Latin, because of its strong magnetic behavior. A substantial portion of the Earth's core is made of iron. Interesting. And it is iron that gives our planet its magnetic properties. Well, yeah, we know that just by that. Volcanoes do not have a highly magnetic field themselves, but the rocks within them can become magnetic when lava cools and solidifies, creating magnetic materials that align with Earth's magnetic fields. Volcanic activity can cause small temporary variations in the local magnetic field due to the changes of the magnetic properties within the rocks. So, as lava cools and solidifies, these magnetic crystals become permanently magnetized and align themselves with the direction of the Earth's magnetic field. Interesting. So basically, the Earth's magnetic field is, I guess if you think of it, it's kind of like the nervous system of the planet, which could correlate with the ley lines. I wonder if ley lines could be part of the way that they map out the Earth and all of its magnetic areas. Very well could be. This process creates a magnetic footprint or anomaly that can be detected and studied. So if we can detect it and study it, I'm sure as hell positive they can. Reports of UFO sightings around volcanoes, particularly in Latin America, are reoccurring themes in the pop culture. I love how they say that. And some circles of the UFO research, because we're all crazy. While the connection remains in the realm of speculation and anecdotal accounts, the idea of UFOs using magnetic properties of volcanoes is an interesting one to consider from a scientific perspective. Well, I'm glad they gave us that much of a credit, particularly given the strong magnetic properties of certain minerals in a volcanic rock. Here is why it's plausible to consider the potential connection. Magnetic, this is getting really small print, guys. I got to get my eyeballs on, okay? Bear with me. Okay, here's why it's plausible to consider the potential connection. Magnetic minerals in volcanic rocks. Volcanic rocks, especially basalts, contain iron-rich materials like magnetite and hematite, which are easily magnetized when lava cools. Okay, these minerals align with the Earth's magnetic field, locking in a record of the field at the time that they are formed. Cool. And if you want to see what our subject's going to be tomorrow night, because we're going to be doing this again tomorrow night, I'm going to show you. That's what our subject's going to be tomorrow night. Reptilians. Okay. Anybody have anything they want to say about what I've been studying as far as the magnetic fields and stuff go with the UFOs around volcanoes and other areas of the country that have mining claims in them? Because I believe it's all connected. If anybody has any ideas or thoughts, please let me know. Otherwise, we are going to call this a wrap, and I'm going to close it out because I want you guys to hear a song that I did on my app. And hold on, I'm going to put the speaker on. It's going to be kind of loud. I don't know if I want to do this on the speaker, though. But anyways, I'm going to play it. So bear with me. All right, where is it? This is the latest song that I did on the app. It's the Suno app, Suno. And yes, this is my own music, YouTube and Facebook, just so you know. I have all rights to it. And this is all my own information, my own research, and my opinions. I have all rights to that. So this should not be disputed by any way, shape, or form. Okay, let me see if this will play for me. Okay, guys, here we go. I want you to hear it. It's in two different styles. I'm going to play them both, okay?
Lights hum and the dark machine hums louder. Screens flicker with lies, can't trust the glow. Is this life or shadow painted by a coder's hand? Every face a mask, every road a loop I can't stand. Break the code, break the chains, tear the veil from this fake domain. See the cracks, feel the strain, breaking free, no more their game. Static whispers through my dreams, binary storms raging in the seams. A picture spark, I feel the truth, but it's unraveling, exposing the rules. Do you feel it, the pull, the ache? Do you hear it, the rhythm, the break? Break the code, break the chains, tear the veil from this fake domain. See the cracks, feel the strain, breaking free, no more their game. Static whispers through my dreams, binary storms raging in the seams. A glitch, a spark, I feel the truth, threads unraveling, exposing the rules. Do you feel it, oh the ache? Do you hear it, the rhythm, the break? Break the code, break chains, tear the veil from the state domain. See cracks, feel the strain, breaking free, no more the game. a force unbroken, with banners high and hearts awoken. The sound of pipes, our war is calling. Like thunderous waves, our duty is falling. Stand tall, together we fight, with courage found in every breath. We'll fight like lions, defy our death. In unity our hearts shall sing the legacy of warriors through every reign. With battle cries we forge our fate, in fields of valor we elevate. As shadows loom, our spirits gleam. Brothers in arms, we are the dream. Fearless, we take the night with courage.